Diana trusted 15 people. 15. And every single one of them, her healer, her bodyguard, her brother, her own mother, the journalist who sat across from her and looked her in the eyes, every single one turned on her. Some sold her secrets. Some covered up crimes against her, and most of them got paid for it. And the last one on this list, number 15, changed the course of her entire life with a lie so calculated that it took 26 years and a full government investigation to uncover. When you hear what her own mother called her, just months before Diana died, you'll understand a kind of loneliness most people can't imagine. And number 15? Martin Bashir. What he did wasn't just betrayal, it was a crime. And when you see the chain reaction it set off, you'll never watch that Panorama interview the same way again. These are the 15 people who betrayed Princess Diana, where they are now, whether karma caught up, and whether any of them ever said sorry. Some did, most didn't, and the ones who did, it was always too late. Let's start with number 1. Number 1, Simone Simmons, the healer. Simone Simmons was Diana's energy healer and spiritual confidant. Diana called her late at night, shared her deepest fears, talked about Charles, about Camilla, about the boys, about everything she couldn't tell anyone else. After Diana died, Simmons wrote a book, Diana, The Last Word, published private conversations, intimate details Diana shared in what she thought was sacred confidence, things she never would have said out loud if she'd known they'd end up on a bookshelf. Where is she now? Still doing interviews, still dining out on Diana's name, still selling the secrets of a dead woman who trusted her with the kind of honesty you only give someone you believe will never repeat it. Number 2, Ken Worf, the bodyguard. Ken Worf was Diana's royal protection officer for years. He was supposed to keep her safe. He was supposed to be someone she could rely on without question. After Diana died, he wrote a book too. Diana, closely guarded secret, included private moments, conversations she had in the back of cars, personal details from her most vulnerable hours, things he only witnessed because his job was to stand next to her and protect her. He took the most private moments of a woman's life, moments he only witnessed because she had no choice but to let him stand there. And he monetized every single one. Where is he now? Retired. Still appears on television as a royal expert. Still making money from the woman whose trust was part of his job description. Number 3, Anna Pasternak, the author. Anna Pasternak wrote Princess in Love, the book that exposed Diana's affair with James Hewitt. Diana hadn't authorized it. The book humiliated her publicly at a time when she was already fighting to hold her life together. Where is she now? She apologized years later, admitted she'd been used by Hewitt to sell the story, but the damage was done. That book changed how the world talked about Diana overnight. An apology doesn't unprint a book, and it doesn't erase what Diana felt the morning she saw those headlines. Number 4, Patrick Jeffson, the private secretary. Patrick Jeffson was Diana's private secretary for 8 years. 8 years. He managed her schedule. He sat in meetings. He knew things about her life that nobody else on earth knew, because she trusted him enough to give him that access. After Diana died, he wrote Shadows of a Princess, painted her as difficult, mercurial, hard to work with. The woman who gave him 8 years of her trust became material for his memoir. Where is he now? Still writing, still commenting on the royal family, still profiting from the years Diana led him into her world. Now we're getting into the betrayals that actually changed the course of events. These next few aren't just personal, they're institutional, and they start with a man most people have never even heard of. Number 5, Matt Weisler, the graphic designer. Matt Weisler was a freelance graphic designer hired by BBC journalist Martin Bashir. His job? Create fake bank statements, forge documents showing that people in Diana's inner circle were being paid by the security services to spy on her, Bashir showed those forgeries to Earl Spencer. Spencer, believing the documents were real, introduced Bashir to Diana. That introduction led directly to the Panorama interview. When Weisler realized what his work had been used for, he went to the BBC and told them everything. They buried it. And then they blacklisted him. The man who tried to blow the whistle had his career destroyed. Where is he now? His reputation in broadcasting was permanently damaged. The BBC eventually apologized, 26 years later, but his career never recovered. The system punished the truth-teller and protected the liar. Number 6, Tiggy Leggy Bork. The nanny. Diana's false target. This one's complicated. Tiggy Leggy Bork was the nanny Charles hired for William and Harry after the separation. Diana was convinced Tiggy was trying to replace her. She made a comment at a Christmas party in 1995, reportedly suggesting Tiggy had been pregnant by Charles. It wasn't true. Tiggy was devastated. She threatened legal action. And here's where the betrayal actually lives. Bashir had fed Diana false information about Tiggy. He manipulated Diana's worst fears about losing her boys and weaponized them. Diana lashed out at an innocent woman because a journalist poured poison in her ear. Tiggy was a victim of Bashir's manipulation, just like Diana. Two women turned against each other by a man who needed the chaos to get his interview. Where is she now? Tiggy received an apology from the BBC in 2021 after the Dyson Report confirmed Bashir's deception. She was vindicated, but those years of being painted as the other woman by the press left scars. Number 7, Andrew Morton, the biographer. Andrew Morton wrote Diana, her true story, the book that blew the lid off the royal marriage. But here's the thing, Diana cooperated. She secretly recorded tapes answering Morton's questions. She wanted her side told. She authorized the story. The betrayal? She had to deny it. When the book exploded, the palace demanded to know if she'd participated. Diana publicly denied involvement. She lied to protect herself. And Morton? He confirmed Diana's cooperation, but only after she died. While she was alive, she carried the weight of that deception alone. Her own act of bravery became another source of isolation. Where is he now? Still a best-selling author, still the man who published Diana's truth. But the cost of that truth fell entirely on Diana's shoulders, while she was alive to bear it. Number 8, Earl Spencer, Diana's brother. Earl Spencer, Diana's own brother. The man who stood at her funeral and delivered a speech that made the entire world cry. He promised, in front of billions of people, that he would protect William and Harry. But before that, when Diana needed him most, he turned her away. Diana asked to live at Althorpe, the family estate after the divorce. Spencer said no. He told her it would cause too many problems, too much press attention, too much disruption. Diana's own brother refused her a place to live, and according to the Dyson Report, Spencer was the one Bashir approached first. Bashir showed him the fake documents. Spencer believed them, and Spencer introduced Bashir to Diana. That introduction set the entire chain in motion. Where is he now? He's spoken publicly about his guilt, about being deceived by the fake documents, about the introduction that changed everything. He's carried that weight publicly, and you can see it when he talks about it. The knowledge that he opened the door for the man who would cause his sister the most damage of all. But the introduction happened. Diana gave the interview, and nothing Spencer says now, no amount of regret, no public admission, can undo what that single meeting set in motion. We're past halfway now, and I need you to stay with me because it gets much heavier from here. But you need to understand who these people were and what they did, because every betrayal on this list fed into the next. They weren't isolated events. They were a system of people who took from Diana, her trust, her secrets, her vulnerability, and converted it into money, power, or career protection. Number 9. Francis Chand Kwai Didi, Diana's mother. Frances Shand Kidd, Diana's own mother. This one's hard to talk about. In 1997, the last year of Diana's life, Frances converted to Catholicism. She reportedly disapproved of Diana's relationship with Dodi Fayed, and according to multiple sources, including Simone Simmons, Frances called Diana a whore. Her own mother, months before she died. They were not speaking when Diana was killed in Paris on August 31, 1997. Diana died without reconciling with her mother. Frances never got to take those words back. She never got to say sorry. She never got the chance to make it right. Where is she now? Frances died in 2004, alone, estranged from much of her family. Alcoholism had taken hold. The woman who called her own daughter that word had 7 years to live with it. 7 years of silence between a mother and a daughter who would never speak again. Diana died without her mother's love. Frances died without her daughter's forgiveness. That's not just betrayal. That's tragedy that echoes in both directions. Number 10, the BBC, the institutional cover-up. The BBC didn't just employ Martin Bashir, the BBC protected him. When questions arose about how Bashir secured the Panorama interview, the BBC launched an internal investigation in 1996 and concluded that Bashir had acted honestly. That finding was a lie. The 2021 Dyson Report, an independent investigation commissioned 25 years later, found that the BBC's 1996 inquiry was woefully ineffective. The corporation had covered up Bashir's deception. They knew about the fake documents. They chose to bury it, and they destroyed evidence. Prince William's response was devastating. He said the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear, her paranoia, and her isolation. He said the interview was obtained through deception, and he said it should never be aired again. The interview was watched by 23 million people. It changed public perception of the monarchy overnight. It accelerated the divorce. It reshaped Diana's relationship with the royal family forever. And the entire thing, every word, every tear, every confession, was built on forgeries, manufactured paranoia, and an institutional cover-up that lasted a quarter of a century. Number 11, Tony Hall, the cover-up chief. Tony Hall, later Lord Hall, was the BBC executive who oversaw the 1996 internal investigation that cleared Bashir. He personally interviewed Bashir and accepted his denials. He signed off on the finding that Bashir had done nothing wrong. The Dyson Report said Hall's investigation fell short of the high standards of integrity and transparency. In plain English, he didn't look hard enough because he didn't want to find the truth. The interview was too valuable, the scoop of the century, and protecting it was worth more to the BBC than protecting Diana. Where is he now? He resigned as chairman of the National Gallery in May 2021, days after the Dyson Report was published and the walls closed in. He said he was deeply sorry, but Diana had been dead for 24 years by then. His apology arrived a generation too late. Number 12, Paul Burrell, the only man she trusted. Paul Burrell. Diana called him the only man I ever trusted. He was her butler, her confidant, the man who held her when she cried. After Diana died, Burrell published 2 books, A Royal Duty and The Way We Were, private letters, personal conversations, intimate moments from behind closed doors, things Diana told him in confidence, the kind of confidence you only give someone you believe would never share it with a soul. He went on reality television. He gave paid interviews. He became a celebrity because Diana had trusted him. He converted her private pain into a public career. Where is he now? Still giving interviews decades later, still appearing on television, still trading on Diana's name like it's a franchise he owns. The man she called her most trusted, the one person she believed would never betray her, turned her memory into a revenue stream. And the cruel irony? His most famous quote, "Don't worry, Mummy, I'll give it back to you one day." The promise young William made about the HRH title. Burrell published that too. Even William's private grief became content. Number 13. James Hewitt. James Hewitt. Diana's lover during the marriage. She trusted him with the most dangerous secret a royal could have. She loved him. She told him things she couldn't tell anyone else. Then he tried to sell her letters. Private love letters Diana had written to him, in her own handwriting, put up for sale. And he cooperated with Anna Pasternak on the book that exposed the affair. Diana called it the worst day of her life. She'd given him everything, her heart, her secrets, her trust, and he put a price tag on all of it. Where is he now? Living quietly in Devon, out of the public eye. The man Diana loved has stayed mostly silent for years, but the damage he did was catastrophic and permanent. Diana's most private relationship, the one she turned to because her marriage was a prison and her husband loved someone else, was packaged and sold to the tabloids by the man she thought loved her back. She gave him her heart. He gave it to a publisher. Number 14. Prince Charles. The husband. Prince Charles. The husband. The man who promised to love and cherish her in front of the entire world. This isn't speculation. These are Diana's own words. In the Morton tapes, Diana described her marriage in devastating detail. She talked about feeling ignored, about crying for help and being told she was being dramatic, about discovering Charles's relationship with Camilla and being told by the institution to accept it. In the Panorama interview, 23 million people heard her say, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." She walked into that marriage at 20 years old, a teenager. She believed in it. She wanted it to work. She tried, for years, to make it work. And the institution she married into treated her like the problem while protecting the affair that was destroying her. Where is he now? He's king. He married Camilla. He got the crown, the coronation, the public acceptance he spent decades trying to engineer. He got everything Diana was denied. Every title, every protection, every blessing from the institution. And the woman he made those vows to in St. Paul's Cathedral in 1981, the 20-year-old girl who believed every word, has been in the ground for 27 years. She never got justice. She never got an apology. She got a funeral and 4 words from a prime minister. Number 15, Martin Bashir, the man who changed everything. And number 15, Martin Bashir, the man who changed everything. The Dyson Report confirmed it all. Bashir commissioned fake bank statements. He showed them to Earl Spencer to gain access to Diana. He told Diana that her own staff were spying on her, that her phones were tapped, that people she trusted were selling information about her. None of it was true. He manufactured paranoia. He weaponized her isolation. He exploited a woman who was already vulnerable and made her believe the entire world was against her. And it worked. Diana gave the interview. 23 million viewers. The most watched television event of 1995. Bashir won a BAFTA. He was promoted. The BBC celebrated. Meanwhile, Diana's life spiraled. The interview accelerated the divorce. It deepened her isolation from the royal family. It increased the paranoia and fear that Bashir himself had planted. Prince William said the BBC's failures contributed significantly to his mother's suffering in her final years. Diana was manipulated, lied to, used for the biggest television scoop of the century. The most vulnerable woman in Britain sat in a chair, looked at a camera, and poured out her heart. And the reason she was sitting there in the first place was because a man she trusted had filled her head with lies to make her desperate enough to talk. And the man who did it? He retired quietly. No trial, no prison, no real consequences. Where is he now? Bashir left the BBC in 2021, officially for health reasons, conveniently timed with the Dyson Report's publication. He has not faced criminal charges. He has not been held legally accountable. He received a written apology from the BBC and walked away. William said it plainly. She was failed not just by a rogue reporter, but by leaders at the BBC who looked the other way. Harry was blunter. Our mother lost her life because of this. 15 people. Some sold her secrets. Some covered up crimes. Some turned their backs when she needed them most. Her healer, her bodyguard, her secretary, her brother, her mother, her lover, her husband, and the journalist who looked her in the eyes and lied. Diana trusted people because she genuinely believed in people. She gave second chances. She opened her heart even when she'd been burned before. And almost every single one of them proved her wrong. But here's what none of them counted on. Diana's memory didn't fade. It got stronger, and her son grew up. William is next in line, and every single privilege Camilla enjoys right now, the title, the crown, the jewels, the staff, the protection, all of it exists because Charles is still alive. The moment he's gone, William decides everything. Click here to see 20 things Camilla will lose when King Charles dies, and why the boy who walked behind his mother's coffin now holds all the power.